Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Standpoint. Nigerians are hoping for something better in 2023. A leader who can take this country to what is now regarded as the next level, or a level of change. And this is coming even as these concerns are being raised as we celebrate the 62 years of independence of this nation. Now, we've been speaking to these political parties. Two of them are represented in our conversation today, the PDP and the Labour Party. We have a representative of the PDP he's a member of the PDP and also a member of the Atiku Presidential Campaign Council. He is Charles Aniagu, a spokesperson for that council. We also have the Deputy National Chairman of the Peter Obi movement, representing the Peter Obi movement, as it were, in this conversation. Obasi, you were speaking earlier about when I talked about the solutions, whether your candidate has the solutions to the myriad of challenges that you continue to highlight in conversations. And I just want to give you a minute thereabout to land on your thoughts.
All right, thank you so much. So as I was saying earlier on, I gave you a practical example of what he has done in education. And let me also go into agriculture, because we're talking about several factors that is mitigating the growth of Nigeria, several of them. Unemployment, he said that the North Central will be turned into the agricultural hub of Nigeria, producing food that will be exported outside the country. Now, if we open up our industries, I was sharing with somebody today, I said, when I was growing up, I used to know a Tomapep, Bongo coffee, all right? I used to know of all those things produced in Nigeria. If you're leaving school, jobs are not issues. In fact, you are thinking of which choice will I make here or there. But today, we have over 30 million people out of employment. Now, when you open up the industries, when you open up the agricultural sector, they produce goods. Those goods, from there, you open up industries who will offtake those things to manufacturing, and then you are exporting. All these things are practical. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, because when somebody said, asking, what are the roadmaps? The roadmaps are clear. Has it been done before? But we live in a modern time, in a 21st century time, where things have been computerized, that you have several things that you can even use apps and develop things. Farming, for instance, I have a friend who came back and told me, he said, Chino.
Abasi, sir, I just have to jump in, because I told you I was going to give you a minute to land on your thoughts. If you don't mind, just give me a minute to land on this. He said, my friend in Israel, his farm is just like maybe a plot of land. And that lady produces oranges. From the oranges, nothing is wasted. The oranges, some of them are exported to Europe. The peels are used in making gins and other things, several things. So agriculture alone can offtake several people. So what I'm saying is that the roadmap are already there. And Peter Obi, when he speaks of the problem and he gives you the solutions. And that is why Peter Obi has resonated with the youths all along, because he talks about the issues and then he will give you the roadmap to actualizing those issues. Thank you very much. All right, let me bring in Charles Aniagu. You have heard Obasi, but I now want to, because he has highlighted some of the challenges we are facing in the country at the moment, and one of them is security. There are those who question your presidential candidate's understanding of the security challenge. And we know that he's from the northern part of the country. And of course, that's the country, the section of the country that has been hardest hit by the security challenge. But some people say, look, he barely spends his time in the country. He
invited me for a TV forum. Sorry.
All right. So, Charles, I hope you're still there. That he barely spends his time in the country. And so does he really understand what is needed to fix the security challenge in the country?
Well, you recall I told you earlier that Nigeria is an intensive care unit, and you require a doctor who is a consultant and not one who is engaged in a house job, who may not have the equipment. In this document called My Covenant with Nigerians, Atiku has everything that you need to be able to address those challenges of that patient who is in the intensive care unit. Beyond that particular one, Atiku has also come up with an economy blueprint. Each one of them encapsulates everything that he needs to put on board. Before I come to the issue of security, my brother Obasi was talking about the issue of country and then having to cost of governance. That is just identifying the challenge. What do you want to do to cut that cost? I'll tell you what Atiku wants to do in that regard. Atiku says for every ailing industry that we are putting money and wasting money, he will give it to the private sector that have got the ability to be able to manage those sectors, like we did in the telecom industry. And then the funds that we are putting in those sectors would have been saved to be able to provide other social services for the people. That's just one key example. That warm handshake with the private sector will reverse a whole lot of things, in addition to providing the necessary framework. Now, coming to the question you asked as to the issue of security, Atiku has a 7-point plan to be able to deal with the issue of security. One, as part of his desire to ensure that he carries everybody along, he says he's going to have appointment of the leadership of the security agency based on competence and based on integrity, and not determined by ethnic consideration. That is not going to have a process where you say, because he is Fulani, let me also go and look for a Fulani man. Or because I'm from the north, let me go and look for a northerner. Or because I'm a Muslim, let me go and look for a Muslim. Atiku says, if the Christian from the southeast is that man who is competent, he will give that job to him because he will bring competence to the management of that security agency. That's one. Secondly,
Charles, I am forced to jump in because you have shown 2 documents. But the truth is, yes, Nigerians have seen documents before. We've seen documents that were, I mean, when you read them, you would think that Nigeria the issues of this country will be fixed in the next 3 months because they were fantastic documents. We're not short of those kind of documents. But what Nigerians are looking for is someone who has the willpower, because it is not the ideas or the solution that seems to be the problem. It's the willpower to fix these challenges. And for example, we've seen, I think it was absolutely, it was during the, sadly and unfortunately, Deborah, who was murdered in Sokoto over allegations of blasphemy. We saw how your presidential candidate posted on, I think it was on Facebook or Twitter, and then deleted that message and said he wasn't the one who posted it. And the other one he posted was sort of vague. And that left Nigerians wondering, does it have the willpower? Will it have the willpower to confront these issues without ethnic and religious sentiments?
I don't know how many times that President Muhammadu Buhari have had calls to commiserate with those who died. And then the next moment, another person dies. Nigerians are not looking for somebody to commiserate with them. Nigerians want somebody who is going to fix the problem. So if you are looking at the issue of whether there was a tweet and there was a deletion of the tweet, that was not what was going to solve the problem. Even if you put a tweet commiserating people for 3 million years and you are not able to take the steps to address those challenges, you have not been able to solve the problem. Atiku is profiling solutions. You said it's not just about having documents. They're saying in my place that it's from the house that you know the firewood that will get to the farm. First of all, as a medical doctor, like I told you before, who is serious in dealing with the issues of a patient who is in the intensive care unit, you need to, first of all, have hope about the equipment, about the instruments he has. Not the one that you get that is, okay, wait for me, let me go to the market and buy one stethoscope, or let me go and buy scissors. In this case, this particular doctor, this consultant, has got what he needs to be able to perform surgery on this patient that is in critical condition. That is step one. You talked about the issue of willpower. I have given you an example of what the Obasanjo-Atiku administration did with respect to bringing in persons even from outside the political party. That is a height of demonstration of the willpower. To be able to even ignore those who even assisted you in winning the election. To bring in eggheads that have got the capacity beyond political consideration to be able to make a difference. You need to go and read the history of the Obasanjo-Atiku administration to appreciate the role, even as vice president, the role he played. Even as the chairman, as the head of the Economic Council of the state, he also demonstrated a whole lot of competence. In addition to the fact that he's not one that you can quote to have been able to make comments that divide us or comments that will lead to issue of insults. And so, which is also why we are very pleased about the issue of everybody now talking about peace. I am enjoying the conversation with my brother, Obasi. The only point of disagreement between both of us is that we have a candidate that is more like a consultant in the hospital and another candidate that is just engaged in a house job. That is just the difference. Both of them mean well, but just that this other candidate in the person of Atiku is already well versed with the issues and is prepared to deal with those issues. And so in trying to tell you what I was talking about, my argument about what we are going to do with respect to security, Atiku is going to unfold a presidential plan that will talk about welfare for those who are protecting us and suffering day and night for us to be able to sleep peacefully at night. That is going to come in as a way of motivating our security agencies.
All right.
The issue of anti-rivalry
I have little time. I would like to bring in Obasi. I think, sorry, Mr. Niago, I just have a few minutes left. I'm trying
I hope you have another time because we have
absolutely. Campaigns have started. I'm sure we will have you a couple of times. We'll have you a couple of times, but I want to ensure that both of you have enough time to speak on these issues. But let me bring you in because Charles Niago seems to be saying that, look, your presidential candidate doesn't have the status quo, and I know that that's just some sort of symbol he's using to say that your candidate isn't prepared. But I'm staying on security. You will respond to that and also respond to the issue of security, because many people are saying, where was your candidate when the security challenge in the Southeast was ongoing? He was there. And that if under him, that wasn't fixed. So why should they believe that he can fix the security challenge in the country?
Thank you so much. Thank you once more. Charles, Charles, my brother, I must say that his analogy is very interesting. If my principal could be seen and approached by his principal, that is to show you the capability of my principal. Now, but let us go beyond that, because Nigerian people are tired of the old order. The elites are taking Nigerians for granted. They have taken Nigerians for granted for too long, and they believe in doing things as usual. To that extent, most people no longer want the elites and the establishments because they have destroyed the country. And that is why you see that P2B resonates with everybody. Now, on the security, when P2B was in Anambra State, Anambra was, go and check. It's on, thank God that internet doesn't lie. Anambra State was declared by the police IG at that time as the safest state in the country. Of course, we know that the current dysfunctional structure, which makes a governor chief security of the state, but does not give him the enabling power to control the apparatus of security, is a handicap for them. Even at that, it was he had a way he walked around that system and brought peace to Anambra State. But when you come to Nigeria, I will tell you that why Boko Haram and insecurity has subsisted up to this moment is because there is no political will on the powers that be to deal with it. My dear sister, there are drones. If you want, even satellite can stay here and pick up. You can want your Google now and say you want to a place in Google map. It will give you a pinpoint in Barono. So I would say we don't have people that knows about these things, but the challenge has been political.
But Obasi, let me comment because I know that we can highlight.
I'm coming. My principal is coming with that political will.
Just let me quickly jump in. Like I said, I'm managing time.
Go ahead.
We can highlight the issues around this country and not really look at where we're coming from. How will your principal respond to there is a sit-at-home order now in the Southeast every Monday. People follow it to the latter. They're scared to even come out of their homes. How will your principal respond to all of these issues? A lot of facilities, government infrastructure have been brought down in the Southeast. How will he respond to that and ensure that the Southeast is back to where it is coming from, where people could move around without fear and without of their safety and security?
Thank you very much. Again, those are functions of trust on leadership. What brought such situation at the first place? Lack of trust on leadership. When the people see a leader they trust, and that leader begins to speak with them. I will give you a story of Walimu, former president of Tanzania, who the Tanzanians were going on protest. And the man came out, and the security details were telling them, don't come out, that these people will. And he said, if I'm a leader and my people are disillusioned, they are not happy with me, then what am I doing? He came out to join the crowd and spoke to the crowd, and the crowd heard him, and everybody dispersed. Julius Nyerere. That's leadership. When the issue in the Southeast was not there, it was managed even up until 2014. The thing blew up under a government, like many people have said, that tried to exclude the people, the whole people. And then this came up. So when they see people that they can trust, when they see leadership that they can trust, naturally you will see that these things will whittle off. Naturally, it will go off. But like I said, security is I would say that it is basically exclusive to the president. And if we have exclusive in terms of control of the military and all the other apertures of security. So if you have a government and a president that has the political will to deal decisively with security, of course, there are no country, everywhere in the world, there are pockets of insecurity here and there. But for us to have terrorism, Nigerians are not terrorists.
But let me ask you, because again, Obasi, and Charles and Iago, I'll come to you in just a minute, because you're saying it's the issue of trust. Yes. The issue of Boko Haram had started even before President Buhari took office. And, you know, there was also that issue of people thought that if we probably have a northern president, the issue would automatically go away. But it's still there today. We're having more issues of banditry. Are you saying that there is no trust in that regard? And what if the issue persists? What if this crisis persists? Because you can say that you almost sound as though you think that it will go away as soon as Peter Obi becomes, if he becomes president. But what if it doesn't? How will he respond?
Again, I said something. Nothing is cast on stone. I am not saying that there is a magic wand to it. But I'm saying that when you have a leadership that is trusted, that to a large extent, most of the things will go down. Yes, the Boko Haram started during Yar'Adua's time, but it did not take the violent aspect until perhaps during Jonathan's time, if you recall. And it did not escalate to the way it was now until after Jonathan. So what I'm saying is that if we have a government that is decisive and at the same time sincere, most of these things will be certainly dealt with. Trust me, they'll be dealt with.
You still haven't answered my question. What if it isn't? How will your principal respond? Because you're speaking based on what you believe or what you hope will happen. If it doesn't happen, how will he respond?
Now you're asking me a futuristic question. What I'm saying is that I know that there are factors. When you deal with the factors that leads to insecurity, the factors, number one, you're going to deal with the poverty issue, the inequality, excessive inequality, the injustices. And when you sincerely have a leader that is able to address these issues, and then if the other one comes, the other criminality, and then the criminality will be dealt with according to the law. And then they see. Let me give you a typical example. During Jonathan's time,
I wish I had enough time for the example.
Kabir Sokoto was taken to court.
Obasi, I have to bring in Charles. I need to get like a last word from Charles just before we close out. Charles, your party is now dealing with issues of, around allegation of financial misappropriation. We've heard members of your party go around to say your presidential candidate will fight corruption if he wins. But these allegations have been against the national leadership of your party. We haven't heard anything from your presidential candidate. Why should Nigerians trust you to deal with corruption if even before the election, there are issues of corruption and financial misappropriation in your party?
Well, thank you very much. But shortly before I go into that, let me tell you what we want to do with respect to the Southeast as part of solving the challenge. It's not just wishing that it's going to naturally go away and then invite God to come and take charge. We will help ourselves by taking steps, and then God will help us in the course of that step. And that step is that Article says He's going to engage with state actors and non-state actors to, first of all, know why they are doing what they are doing. And in the case of the South, it is very well known, issue of marginalization. And he's going to address it by giving them their due. That is that. Then coming to the question you asked, I'm sure you know those who claimed that they were being bribed. And you must first of all look at it. What the PDP has suffered in the last couple of months is what my wonderful sister, Chimamanda Adichie, described in one of her write-ups as this danger of a single story. We have, in the course of time, because we are looking for peace and we're still very much interested in peace in our party, decide to ignore so many narratives. And those narratives actually fall within the realm of the danger of a single story. And so you have a story coming from one side, and then just like the story between the hunter and the hunted. Usually it is the hunter that tells the story, and when it does, it is always favorable to the hunter until you are able to get the hunter one day, the hunted one day. But we will not join issues with anybody. Who does bribing through a bank account of a political party to another account? These monies have been paid 14 days. In short, I will even want to say that they need to even return the interest that this money may have accrued in the past 2 weeks. These individuals have always had issue of being provided for because they left their different zones to come to Abuja to work for the party. Of course, these are not small children that you ask to go to Nyanya. They will need to live in a place like either Asokoro, Metama, or Wusetu, because they are not small children. That is the kind of area where they are kind of persons live. If you have to provide accommodation and furniture for those persons for a period of 2 years, because those who are saying the money is too much, they should go and maybe price houses, rent in these areas that I have mentioned, where this class of persons actually belong.
All right.
The money was not only paid for to only members of the National Working Committee, even staff in PDP, were they also going to be involved in the issue of determining whether IU stays or not? And don't forget also that the National Executive Committee of the party, which is the highest the highest decision-making body of the party besides the National Convention, have already passed a vote of confidence on IU. So why would he need to bribe anybody for him to stay in office? And if he's going to bribe anybody, is he also going to bribe himself?
I wish we could continue this conversation. I'm being told, that we have to go. Because again, I wish Basi will also respond to the issues of the Pandora paper that was published by one of the Premium Times here, where Peter Obi's name was also mentioned. I wish you could respond to that, but our time is up. But I would have you gentlemen again to speak as we continue, campaigns in the country continue. There is never enough time to talk about the issues when it comes to Nigeria. Thank you both for talking to us. Happy Independence Day to you. Charles Aniagwu, spokesperson for the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, and Obasi Chinonso, who is the Deputy National Chairman of the Peter Obi movement. Thank you both.
My brother Obasi, I look forward to seeing you come back home.
All right, whilst you pack your bags, that's it today on Standpoint.